If you run an e-commerce brand, this is probably going to be the most useful video that you watch this week on how to make more money with Google Ads for your business. This is a case study of exactly how we generated an additional $28,000 in revenue with only $254 in additional spend. This was a massive, massive efficiency increase. You can see the ROAS went up by 2.6, and we genuinely made an extra $28,000 with only $200 spent. That is a 100x return on this additional spend here. 10x would be obviously 2,500, and then a 100x it's actually over a 100x on that additional spend. So this additional spend was the most efficient spend that we've ever put through in some accounts, and I'm going to walk you through exactly how we did it by efficiently scaling down some campaigns, scaling up some other campaigns, introducing some new campaigns into the account. There were only 4 simple steps to achieve this, and I'm going to walk you through every single one of them. So let's get right into it. First of all, we reduced their branded overspend. So this account was spending a whole lot of money on branded traffic, and they weren't getting the returns required to justify that amount of spend. You can see right here, we have a comparison up from the most recent 30 days in this account, which is featured right here, most recent 30 days compared to the same time last year. So this is a semi-seasonal business, so it's important to compare to the same times of year when comparing results because it allows us to kind of exclude the seasonality factor. So what we've got is a comparison between last 30 days and that same 30-day period last year. And we can see that on their branded campaign, we spent 87% less spend, and we generated an additional 17% in conversion value. That is absolutely crazy efficiency gains. You can see the conversion value divided by cost, so the ROAS, went up by 800% just by us dialing in this branded campaign and making it actually efficient. So the reason that this branded campaign was inefficient in the first place was mainly because they had Google reps unnecessarily raising their budget. So they basically had Google reps coming into their account and saying, hey, you need to be spending more on Google. Look, you're getting a great return. Put some more money in. They didn't realize that all the money they were putting into the account was just going towards branded traffic. It was just pushing more and more people, more and more money towards a campaign that was just getting people who already knew about them. Now, I always support running branded traffic, but it needs to be run efficiently. You can't just simply load it up with more and more cash because you're going to get massively diminishing returns. As you can see here, beyond this spend of about $150 over 30 days, which is minimal in this account, as you can see, we spent a total of $10K over that 30 days, and $150 is a very small portion of that. So we are spending a very small amount on branded and getting a very good return back from it, which is exactly what you want to do on brand. These Google reps are just pushing more and more money in and getting no additional returns. So ensure your branded targeting is also airtight. You've got to make sure that your branded campaign is only targeting branded terms. As soon as you start kind of leaking into other traffic types, so any non-branded stuff, any competitor stuff, things like that, you're going to end up losing return. You're going to end up diluting your branded campaign, and you're going to make it a lot more difficult for your attribution, for your scaling, for everything. So make sure that your targeting is airtight. You have negative keywords. If you are getting traffic from irrelevant search terms or relevant keywords, make sure that you have just branded keywords in exact match to ensure you're only getting branded traffic. Also, once you do start seeing those diminishing returns, stop scaling your branded. There is a time and place to put more money into branded. For example, if your overall demand is increasing, whether it's seasonality, whether it's increased spend on other marketing channels, whether it's a big sale or a big email campaign going out, and you have more branded traffic coming through, you can sometimes justify scaling up that branded spend. But once you start getting those diminishing returns, stop. You want to be maximizing your return on ad spend for your branded campaign always, and it should be very, very high. So that was the first step, reducing their branded overspend, making sure that branded traffic was actually efficient. Next up was we locked down their PMAX targeting and efficiency. You can see in here, this is a PMAX campaign with no product feeds. This is just an asset-only PMAX campaign, and it's running really well. You can see it has increased in efficiency by 50% since that same time last year, and it has a 100% increase in conversion value since that same time last year. So both these metrics are phenomenal increases and represent significant growth in the account. The way that we achieved this was by tightening the PMAX targeting to the highest performing regions, and we overhauled the ad copy. So There are a few regions in the account that were performing a lot better than others. We tightened our targeting down to those regions and allocated all of our spend into those regions in order to maximize our efficiency in the campaign, so we weren't wasting on underqualified, underperforming regions. We also overhauled the ad copy in the campaign because the ad copy was quite outdated. It wasn't really very emotionally driven. It didn't really make people want to click. It was kind of just there. We also introduced audience targeting signals to reach the right people. So what you can do in PMax is you can introduce signals to try and push your ads to the right audiences. This can be very helpful when you're just trying to get a higher efficiency, trying to show more to the right people rather than letting PMax do the prospecting for you. So we added these signals to the campaign and we saw a significant increase. We also adjusted the delivery settings to ensure high quality placements. So the PMax campaign was previously placing in low quality placements across the Google network. So low quality websites, discovery placements, kind of children themed stuff, all these things that these placements where our customers did not exist essentially. So we removed those placements because they were dragging down our efficiency. And as a result, we managed to improve the performance on this campaign. We also scaled up spend according to demand signals. So we found that when the demand started rolling in, we'd scale up the spend according to that demand. As I said, it's a seasonal business. And if you kind of scale up too early, or if you scale up too late, if you scale up too early, you're going to waste money. And if you scale up too late, you're going to miss out on potential revenue. So we were really, really closely watching the demand signals in this campaign to make sure that we were constantly aligned with demand. We weren't going too far and we weren't going too slow. And that was done by mainly tracking the search loss IS metrics, and also the overall spend and the ROAS as well usually represents demand, because the higher ROAS usually indicates there are a higher concentration of high intent customers, which means there's more demand coming through. So we also separated asset-only PMax and feed-only PMax due to a broken Google Merchant Center. Now, this is something we're about to address, but as you can see here, this PMax has no products in it. It's an asset-only campaign, so there were no GMC products because the GMC was broken at the time, and it was kind of just diluting the performance of the campaign because all the products were limited or had issues, and it was affecting delivery. And we thought, let's just simplify this all while GMC is broken. We'll remove the products, go asset only, let this scale up into the assets, and then we'll deploy a new campaign for the products when the GMC is fixed, which we did. That was step 3. We overhauled the Google Merchant Center and we created a feed-only campaign. So you can see here, this Google Merchant Center is awesome. This is what you absolutely want to see in all your Google Merchant Center accounts, plus 15,000 approved products. And none of them, they were previously all in the not approved section. We moved them into the approved section and got a massive, massive win there. As you can see, there are still some not approved products, but these are from an outdated data feed, which we are currently in the process of removing. In any case, 15,900 products is a lot of products. And now they're all approved. They're all fully optimized to the best extent we can with such a large catalog. But it is a beautiful sight to see all those products moving away from not approved and into the approved category. And then what we did is we put them into their own feed-only campaign. Now, this was quite recent. So as you can see here, compared to last year, there is an infinite increase because this campaign wasn't existent last year. But now that it is in the account, we can see it's already generated $2,500 in conversion value at a 5x ROAS. And this is a very fresh campaign. Considering it's already performing this well, I'm extremely bullish. I think it's going to perform very well. And we're going to be scaling this one up heavily as we move into the high season for this account. But what we did here essentially was we restructured and optimized the GMC feed for functionality. So previously it was being fed a incomplete, inaccurate data file from the website that was unable to be read effectively by Google. It had low quality images, it had incorrect product titles. Basically what we did was we restructured the file for upload, sent it through a different mechanism. If you're having troubles with this, with your GMC feed, consider either using the direct Shopify import to GMC or using a feed management tool such as Data Feed Watch or Symprocess. They're also very helpful. In this case, we actually did a manual upload simply due to the circumstances of the brand. And as a result, we got an effective increase in products by 15,900. So obviously a huge number of products opened up for placement opportunities significantly. So we were already placing on a lot of terms with our PMax asset-only campaign that were related to our products. However, there were a lot of terms that we were missing because we didn't have our products that were effectively kind of advertising on those terms, right? So By implementing all these products into a campaign, we were able to expand our inventory on ads very, very significantly, and we can see the result there. It's already increasing and advertising to far more audiences, and it will only continue to compound and increase further. So as I mentioned, we create a feed-only campaign to separate the new algorithmic learning from existing PMax with no products. Now, what we want to do here is we didn't want to introduce 15,000 products into an existing PMax campaign because we already had a lot of data, a lot of learning, a lot of compounding in this campaign. And if we suddenly introduced 15,000 products into it, probably would have sent the algorithm a little bit haywire and thrown off our existing results. So that is why we decided to create this new campaign, this feed-only campaign, where we could just throw in our products, let it run, and let it optimize solely on the product placements. And as you can see, it's doing quite well, starting very strong. Step 4. Now, we're keeping this one quick. This is the final step for scaling up their efficiency and returns. We introduced effective general search campaigns and competitor campaigns too. So the general search campaigns allowed for further expansion to more general categorical terms that PMax wasn't already capturing. So PMax is great at it's good at a lot of things, but also has its limitations. In this case, we were finding that PMax was kind of limiting the placements on specific terms. It wasn't hitting all the terms that we wanted it to hit in the account. There were a few things that it just didn't seem to be delivering on. So that was why we started up the manual search campaign to make sure that we were delivering on those specific keywords and terms that the PMax wasn't reaching. As you can see, the general search campaign is also doing quite well at a 4.5x ROAS, 62% up from last year. So once again, very, very good increase there. And a competitor campaign is also killing it at a 4x ROAS. You know how hard this is to do if you've ever run a competitor campaign before. Getting a 4x ROAS on competitor is really, really solid. But this competitor search allowed us to start siphoning traffic from competitors with inferior products. So our client here is really a leader in their market, in their industry. They really do have the best products compared to their competitors. And when we advertise on the competitor keywords, it's very easy for us to steal traffic and bring them over to our offer because it is far superior to the competitors. So our market dominance makes this highly viable and highly profitable compared to other accounts that probably wouldn't be able to succeed with this. So if you do want to move into competitor campaigns, just please make sure that your product genuinely is better than your competitors. It's going to make your life a whole lot easier. And if you're kind of on par with competitors, you can still beat them out and you can still get profitable. It just takes a little bit more work. So the efficiency of these campaigns was increased through standard targeting adjustments. So strict targeting of high-performing keywords. So we really prioritize the keywords that are doing best in our search general campaign, push them up a lot higher than the ones that weren't performing well. We excluded incorrect traffic types. So, we had some competitor traffic leaking in here. We had some branded traffic leaking through in certain places. We made sure to fully exclude that. So we were effectively segmenting within our campaigns. And then also within the campaign ad groups, we were segmenting ad groups out specifically. So within our competitor campaign, we have 5 different ad groups, all for different competitors. That allows us to clearly compare the performance of each competitor. If we need to, we can even break one out into its own campaign and give it preferential budget if it's really performing above the other competitors. But in any case, keeping them separate just allows us to see which competitors we are outperforming by the greatest extent and which ones we have the best opportunity to siphon traffic from. So that is a summary of exactly how we achieved an additional $28,600 in revenue for this brand with only $254 in additional spend. It was a fantastic result and something that you can also achieve by deploying the changes, recommendations, and optimizations down below. And if you've just watched all this and you feel a little bit overwhelmed and you don't really want to try and implement all this stuff yourself, please feel free to book a call with me down below. I'd be more than happy to try and discuss this with you, identify where the opportunities may exist in your account and how we might be able to help you scale up and run your Google ads more efficiently to make more revenue and more profit on Google.